What began as a swift means to deliver justice overnight has spiraled into a relentless campaign of destruction. Bulldozer drives, once touted as a quick fix, and now tear through lives and livelihoods. How legal is this? How justified is this? These are some tough questions. The first case is about how an act of political satire turned into a full-blown public outcry. Illegal parts of the venue of a stand-up, which so far were legal till Kunal Kamra decided to go and do a show in it, have now been defaced and reduced to rubble. This isn't just a casualty of dissent, it's a glaring symbol of how power is misused. With the BMC's demolition drive gaining momentum and even a BJP MLA hinting at more bulldozer action. Then in Nagpur in the same state, the terror of the bulldozer is unmistakable. Fahim Khan's case is a brutal reminder that when a machine of destruction is unleashed on an illegal extension, it leaves more than just broken bricks behind. The heavy-handed demolition of an illegal portion of a home has prompted the High Court of Maharashtra to slam the blatant disregard for due process, demanding an explanation for such draconian measures. In 2021, in Prayagraj, the bulldozer didn't just flatten structures. It crushed the very core of a community conscience. The Supreme Court is left in shock with its bench saying that this act which we see on the screens, shocks our conscience, and if we tolerate one more case, it will continue. With residential premises being demolished in an outrageously high-handed manner, the process has been condemned as nothing short of a travesty. And as if state-sanctioned terror wasn't enough, the menace of bulldozer justice has even seeped into private lives. It seems that some people in Gujarat have taken a leap out of the state government's book when it comes to bulldozer justice. In Bharuch, parts of 6 houses were demolished by a family of a married woman who had eloped with a divorced man. When his family couldn't produce him to appease her kin, her relatives took matters into their own hands, storming his neighborhood and razing toilet blocks along with other structures from 6 houses. This is the first case of private bulldozer justice. So, in the midst of the rumbling bulldozer, the Supreme Court's November 2024 guidelines show how justice isn't delivered by brute force but through due process. Time must be given for appeal after any demolition order. No demolition should be proceeding without any show cause notice. Notices must be sent by registered post and visibly pasted outside the structure. A 15-day window must be provided after serving the notice. Owners must be given 15 days post order to remove any unauthorized structure. How many of these guidelines are being adhered to? It's a mockery, and that's what we're looking at as tonight on Beyond the Headline. We decide to go beyond the bulldozer. I'm being joined once, and I'm very glad to confirm that Abhishek Manu Singhvi, 4-time MP and eminent jurist, a senior advocate in the Supreme Court, continues to be live with us. Dr. Singhvi, your reaction on the Supreme Court order on the Prayagraj demolition, an order in which the bench said that it had shocked the conscience here. The question is, are orders or observations from the Supreme Court enough? Because what we have seen continuously, whether it be in Uttar Pradesh, whether it be in Nagpur, especially whether it be in the Habitat Club in Mumbai over an act of a satirist, indicates that there is an absolute disregard for the Supreme Court's orders and its observations and its directives. There's an absolute blatant disregard for them.
I couldn't agree with you more, except that I would tend to use stronger words. Let me say it in point form, because I was one of the lead counsels before the bench, which did very quick, straightforward, robust judging, a bench of Justice Gawai and Justice Vishwanathan, leading to that judgment. Let me say it in point form. Number one, if you want to call yourself a democracy, this is not the antithesis of democracy. If you were to only go by this yardstick, it's the end of democracy. You can be very proud because you're China, but then China is not a democracy. If you want to be like China, then you're the right path. You can be very proud if you want to be Idi Amin's Uganda, but do you want to be or not? Otherwise, you are not a democracy. Now, number two, the guidelines there are so clear, so explicit, and so comprehensive, and I assisted the court in giving many of those guidelines, that even a blind man, if he wants, cannot avoid them, cannot not know them. So thirdly, these strictures are a very important, necessary condition. They restore public confidence. But fourthly, they are not a sufficient condition. The sufficient condition is directly visiting those municipal officials with severe penalties, which is also provided in the guidelines. If the shoe pinches you, Ritangshu, as a municipal official who went astray, then it will be a deterrent to all your colleagues for the next demolition. Even if the master, if I'm a malevolent master and I give you an order, you will simply disobey it and say, no, I can't follow it. I have to follow the Supreme Court guidelines. So you have to punish them and make examples out of them. That alone will instill a fear and a insurance against repetition. And next, I'm asking a simple question. I just know about the Nagpur incident, which is the most recent. It is now, of course, very cleverly done that they say that, look, we are doing it because you had a chhajja or a veranda projecting, or you had an illegal gun. Let me accept that for a minute. I'm not accepting it. Is it a remarkable coincidence that the offending chhajja or veranda came to your notice one day after the alleged rioter was found to be? Did you give him many months? Yeah. He didn't build it overnight, no? He didn't build it after rioting. He didn't build it 2 days before rioting.
Yeah.
Did you ever take any action? Now that itself is sufficient. He may have. I am going to the extent of saying you have done a criminal act. You are caste X, I am caste Y, you have killed me. You should be hanged after due process. I have no hesitation. But your house can't be demolished for that offense. And even if the house has an offending structure, that structure would have been noticed by several demolition notices much earlier and would take the law to take its own course. It can't be that after you murder me, apart from being hanged for the murder, your house is demolished. It's a bizarre thing. I feel ashamed. And I also feel even more ashamed and, in fact, worried that the court, like the Supreme Court, is not being taken seriously. You see, the reason why these things are happening is because the instruction is, the approach is, look, ultimately, I know you have to stop. But it's a process, is the punishment. It takes time to go to the court. It takes time for the court to issue notice. Yeah. It takes time for the notice to be served on you. By then, at least something is demolished, then we'll stop it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Singhvi, for joining us. Let me quickly go across to my political analysts who are joining me, Manish Barriarr and Kamru Choudhury. We'll go to make this quick and punchy. Manish, you heard what Dr. Singhvi said. Why is the Supreme Court not being taken seriously when it comes to the spectre of bulldozer justice?
Good evening to you and to my co-panelists and all the viewers. Allow me to comment on Mr. Manu Singhvi's reactions to both the cases, and then I'll go to you quickly on your question. Now, I was really surprised. I don't know whether you were so much shocked or appalled or not, but look at the way he defended his colleagues. Very nice words, very sweet words. He was not shocked. He did not use any strong words for that, right? Because the judge is a colleague, he is a part of the fraternity, so he is a part of the holy cow. So nothing, no conscience, nothing else getting agitated, everything is fine. But yes, if there is a guideline of Supreme Court gets violated, and I'm not trying to defend what's happening, it's a law and it should really, the law has to be followed. And the erring officials, they need to be booked. There's no doubt over that, right? So I'm not here to really defend what is unconstitutional. And it's not really behove of a good democracy to really, give a justice like that. And that's acceptable by every, right-minded individual in this country. But the way, certain violation of Supreme Court is condemned and highlighted, and many of the Supreme Court violations have been with impunity.
Manish,
people are violated,
we just have,
but it
Manish,
doesn't come to
let's
really
keep
fore.
it to the issue
So
at hand. I don't think it's right to draw an equivalence here.
I will come to that.
I mean, Dr. Singhvi may defend his colleagues, but I'm sure I've answered your question that way, right? I do not support that kind of bulldozer justice at all. But at the same time, we also need to see that, we also need to see that who are we confronting? There are a lot of people who are criminal elements, anti-national elements, and, some kind of a messaging, some kind of a, because, they break laws with impunity. So I think it's also behove of, and I would, with due respect, I would disagree with
the judgment. It's the law. So, but I have a right as a citizen of this country to disagree with that law, where people of that nature, who have rioted, destroyed public property, attacked police personnel, criminals.
So you're saying, Manish, that they need to be... Now, okay, I get your point. Let me quickly get in Kamru Zaman, because we don't have a lot of time on this. Kamru Zaman, should there be a rethink in the Supreme Court's orders? Because evidently there needs to be Manish says that we need to pay back people who are rioters and who are arsonists or who are creating trouble with a measure on their own coin.
Mr. Bhattacharya, I beg to differ on this because nobody has given a right to demolish anybody's house except for the courts of India as mandated by law. But basically, what do you see this? I see this as a supremacist, a vindictive, and a vilifying mindset of the state. I'll rather stress on the word state and its ecosystem against anyone who dares to question the the majoritarian and the supremacist agenda of the Bharatiya Janata Party's government. Rahul Gandhi had categorically stated and hinted on this word particularly, our fight is against the state. Why it is against the state? Because the state is conspiring against those people who seem to be opposing the government of the day. So the state is totally vindictive as of now. Successive judgment, like let me take a very small example of Afrin Fatima, a student. Wait.
So you're saying this is vindictive against any form of dissent, whether it be Afrin Fatima or Kunal Kamra? Okay, Manish Barriarr, come in. I'm afraid we'll have to keep this very short and snappy because I want to get more views as quickly as possible. Manish, come in on that.
It's okay. So, what kind of a rioter? What kind of a vindication? That person should be behind bars immediately. I'm really surprised Mr. Kamru Zaman is defending and talking about majoritarianism. The Congress party, Rahul Gandhi's forefathers, they have done emergency to this country. What more vindication could be there against the majority than really putting the country under emergency? But you are defending a criminal from the lens of religion. And that's a blasphemy of the highest order. You cannot look at criminals from the point of view of whether of this religion or that religion.
I'm defending the...
Obviously, you've given another example. I would like to complete. I'm sorry. Every time you mentioning only about, a particular community, please give me some examples of Hindus who have been aggrieved like that. I would really love to come up with an example. Please. If you have any.
Come on.
Is that question for me?
Yes, it is for you. Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Bhattacharya, basically you see there are a number of examples in the country. In fact, I am from Calcutta and I believe I am closely associated with the Kolkata Municipal Corporation. There are at least 10 demolitions of illegal constructions going on every day in Calcutta Municipal Corporation area. But do you find any of this demolition being done without following the due process of law? I'm afraid no. Otherwise, you would have been discussing this on the television. But most of the cases that have been detected or that have seen the headlines, even we have seen a house being demolished in Prayagraj, that of Afrin
Yes,
Fatima,
Manish, I get your point. Manish, see, the point is unfortunately, I'll have to wrap it here.
Were carrying that live.
Manish, there are 2 points to ponder. And number one is it's a deep coincidence that every time there is someone who's at the receiving end of any sort of a problem, whether it be law and order, whether it be political criticism, coincidentally his house or the venue of his concert turns out to have something illegal within 24 hours magically. Second is you mentioned what do we do with rioters. The point is it's not our job to pronounce them as rioters. They're accused of a riot until they're proven guilty by the court. And it's only the court which then decides whether a house should or a property should be demolished or not. You have agreed that no rightful man will support taking the law into the right hands. But when we see even private actions of bulldozer justice happening in Gujarat, there seems to be a problem where even the highest, if the court is not being followed in letter spirit because I don't agree with the court, then we're leading towards a very dangerous situation. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. I wish we had longer, but this was a super short debate. Thanks because of getting Dr. Singhvi as well. But thank you so much, Kamru Zaman and Manish Barriarr, for setting out different points of the agenda of the debate. It's time for a short break. More news and updates continue on the other side.